My name is Dr. Marlon McKay, and today I would like to be talking about COVID-19, but with respect to vaccines, vaccinations, and everything around it. There are so many questions, so many stories, so many conspiracies. So let's try and break it down into a simple message and just keep it as truthful as possible so that you can understand everything around vaccines. So let's start right at the beginning. What is a vaccine and how does it work? Well, essentially, vaccines prevent diseases that can be dangerous and even deadly or fatal. And so they work with your body's natural defense system in order to generate protection from that particular disease. So what a vaccine does, it helps your body to produce antibodies so that when you are exposed to that particular disease, you then have protection without first having to get the disease. So vaccines are very, very powerful medicine. And unlike most other medications, vaccines prevent. They do not cure, they do not treat, they merely prevent those particular illnesses. I see a lot of younger ladies are delaying the vaccine because of fears over fertility. Doctor, will I still be able to have a baby? You can be rest assured there is no evidence to suggest that the vaccine interferes in any way with your reproductive system, with fertility. So it's safe to have the vaccine. It's safe if you are planning to have a baby in the next few months or even in the next year. What about pregnancy? So pregnancy today is regarded as a high risk or a comorbid condition. In other words, if you get COVID while you are pregnant, you are at risk of more severe disease and hospitalization. And so it has now become a part of our guidelines that if you are pregnant, you need to have the vaccine as soon as possible in order to protect you against COVID. Now, a lot of ladies have feared. One called me, but doctor, I didn't know that I was pregnant and took the vaccine. Nothing will happen. At least you have your vaccine already on board. So if you are pregnant, planning on falling pregnant, it is of no, you don't have to stress at all. It's very, very important that you actually do get the vaccine with your pregnancy. We're all concerned about our children. Is the vaccine safe for children? Well, the Pfizer vaccine is actually registered from the age of 16. Some of the vaccines now are undergoing testing. In fact, soon a trial is starting from the age of 6 months through to age 12. A worldwide trial that will be enrolling 14,000 children. So lots of studies are going in now to see that the vaccines will be safe for our children. But overseas already, kids are being vaccinated from the age of 12 years. Will the vaccine change my DNA? Can it change who I am? Will it affect me? Is there a chip in there? Absolutely not. Remember, mRNA vaccines do not enter the nucleus, and that's where the DNA of your DNA is held, within the nucleus of a cell. And so they are just designed to stimulate your immune system to make antibodies. It does not change who you are. It cannot enter the nucleus of the cell where your DNA is kept. Is it safe to have the vaccine even if you've already had COVID-19? Now, this is an important question. A lot of people feel, well, the antibodies that I get from having had COVID, are much more powerful than the antibodies generated by the vaccine. That is not true. It's important that you get the vaccine even though you have had COVID and even though you may think that you have antibodies. The problem with thinking that you have antibodies from COVID, you do not know how many antibodies, you do not know how long they're going to last. And remember, if you've had a mild illness, you probably have not developed a very good or strong immune response. If you've had a much more severe illness, yes, you may have more antibodies. But why would you want to get antibodies from an illness that could potentially kill you when you could just get the same antibodies, if not longer lasting, more powerful immune response from a vaccine? So please, you cannot rely on a recent infection to give you antibodies to protect you as if you had the vaccine. And the antibodies that you get from having had COVID are usually only specific for that particular variant, such as the beta or the delta. If a new variant comes along in the next few months, you may not have the same protection compared to as if you had the vaccine. So it's essential that even though you had a recent infection, please do not rely on those antibodies to protect you against new variants or to think that therefore I don't need the vaccine just because I've had a recent infection. Let me clarify. No vaccine, none of the COVID vaccines are 100% protective against getting COVID. I've been vaccinated in February, I got COVID in June. No problem. The vaccine can do that. It does not make that vaccine a bad vaccine. What the vaccine is designed to do is to protect you against severe illness, hospitalization, and death. So even though you are vaccinated, right, you may still get COVID. Now people say, so what's the point of getting a vaccine if I'm still going to get COVID? We are all going to get COVID. But the difference is those who are vaccinated will not land up in hospital, will not have severe illness, and certainly there's a reduction in risk of death from COVID. And that's where the real benefit and protection of the COVID-19 vaccines are. So now that we have a choice, Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer vaccine, people ask, so doctor, which is the best vaccine? Which is the vaccine that I should take? Well, my first answer is just take whichever vaccine is offered to you. If you're in the queue and there's a vaccine, you take it. Don't waste your opportunity to get a vaccine because you want to be fussy. Both vaccines ultimately do the same thing. Protect you against COVID, protect you against hospitalization and death, and protect you against severe illness. All right? We do know that in terms of actual data and differences, the Pfizer vaccine is slightly more technologically advanced, being an mRNA. It probably gives a few more percentage points level of protection against COVID. But ultimately, as I said, they do the same thing. Bear in mind though, with an imminent wave coming along, the fourth wave, which could be around the corner, bearing in mind that if you have more comorbidities where you need protection soonest, the J&J vaccine is probably a better option because you are regarded as fully vaccinated 14 days after the vaccine. Whereas with Pfizer, you need the first dose, then you need to wait 42 days, and then another 14 days after the second dose. So that's 56 days from dose 1. That's only when you are regarded as fully vaccinated. So if the new wave is around the corner, you may not have sufficient time to generate protection. So in those cases, high risk for severe disease, time is of the essence, maybe J&J. But either way, whichever vaccine you are offered, please grab the vaccine. Why should you get the vaccine? Let me summarize it. It works. It is safe and effective. It protects you from serious illness, from hospitalization and death. It protects your family and your loved ones. You need to have it, especially if you have comorbidities. And by that, I mean obesity, hypertension, with or without diabetes. To build herd immunity, so as many of us can be vaccinated so that we can have some sense of return to normalcy in our society. The vaccine is free. What a good reason to have it. And for me, very important, it's just the right thing to do as a South African. So in conclusion, as much as we want things to go back to normal, they probably won't, definitely not soon enough. So let's not waste this pandemic. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's take care of our colleagues, our family, our children, our parents, and our communities. Take care of yourself first. Make sure that you get vaccinated. And encourage a culture of true wellness, be it spiritual, emotional, intellectual, and especially physical. But most importantly, and finally, let's all encourage a culture of vaccination. Let's vaccinate. Don't hesitate, vaccinate. Dr. McKay says, grab the jab. It's the best thing that you can do.